You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Welcome to the Femme Regard Podcast Christmas show. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do that the whole time. But hi, guys.
Hey,
it's
fam.
the holiday season. Happy whatever you're celebrating, because all holiday stuff is amazing. And we just love the holiday season because that means making cookies. That means spending time with your loved ones. And that means Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Tessa?
Who doesn't love a good feel-good Christmas movie?
We love a good feel-good Christmas movie. So we thought it would be appropriate to bring on legendary director Angel Gracia, who has directed a Lionsgate holiday family comedy, How the Gringo Stole Christmas. When we heard this title, this director, we were like, we have to have him on.
I think we both laughed out loud and we were like, yes, this sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Yes. You may remember director Angel Gracia from his feature film directorial debut, the Netflix's From Prada to Nada, a modern Latino-centric story. And now this is his next film with Lionsgate. It stars the famous
George Lopez.
Guys, I can't do these intros. You're going to have to go there. Which stars George Lopez and other fabulous talent, including his wife, Romina Peniche, which we were so delighted that they asked to have her on this call as well, on this podcast as well. Romina ended up being a co-producer as well in this film. And that was such a cool story. I mean, it sounded really hard, but listeners, I mean, we direct, act, produce, it's a lot. And so to hear it on a higher level, bigger budget, so we think, scale, it's like incredible to hear kind of the collaborative experience that Romina had as a role supporting her husband, director, Angel, and how they had to just go through some really difficult things. And then it just comes back to story at the end of the day. We can't preach that enough on the podcast that, if you have a good story, you have a good team, you can make those difficult things work for you. So it's cool to kind of hear their side on the making of the movie and how fun it was, like how enjoyable that process with the actors themselves and coming up with different ideas on the fly really elevated the film at the end of the day.
Yeah. I love having guests on like this because, they both have a lot of credits under their belt. Like they've been doing this a long time. And as long as our parents and grandparents have been alive, as they reminded us several times. No, I love that though. But, they've been doing this a long time. They have a lot of experience and they have success, but they're still so relatable. Like the experience they talk about with this movie in particular and some other things that they've worked on, it's like, we get it. Like we know what they're going through. And like Carolina said, yes, it's on a higher level. They got Lionsgate behind them. They have name talent. I'm assuming they have more money, but at the same time, it's still that spirit of independent film. They're still doing everything. They're still finding the fixes. They're still getting it done in no time. Oh my God. They had no time to prep. And like, it was such a short production schedule. Like when you guys hear it, we were both like, wait, what? So
we were like trying to do the math. We're like, it was crazy. But again, it just shows like it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. The business is the business, and you got to just roll with it. And I mean, they are just two delightful humans. So obviously, it worked out. And they like definitely were able to navigate those situations. And I think you guys will enjoy the storytelling of it all. And and all that. So I just want to make sure we highlight that How the Gringo Stole Christmas is in theaters, on demand, and on digital on December 1st. So guys, it's when this episode pops out, make sure you run to the nearest theater or the nearest demand digital, wherever you can get this film, and watch it with your family because it's a good family movie. So
Yes. And in the meantime, enjoy this interview with Angel and Romy.
enjoy. Adios.
Yes.
Well, we were just talking about, I'm half Colombian and half Polish. Where are you guys from? What are your Latin roots? Tell us.
I am from Mexico. I was born in Mexico City. My mom is from the south of Mexico, and my dad was from Chihuahua. Her mom, they were immigrants from France and I don't know where else.
Okay.
And my grandma was born in Cuba.
Wow. A little bit of everything.
Yeah. I
So
love
it's
it.
just a real deal, though, a real Mexican.
Real
Yeah.
Mexican, yeah, that's right.
I was born in Venezuela from Spanish parents,
Mhm.
but I lived pretty much every decade in a different city or continent
Oh, wow.
or planet. And so just identify myself more as a gypsy.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
Why were you traveling so much?
when I was in my teens, we had the chance to move to Miami, which is the natural migration or migratory pattern
Oh, you don't
from
say.
Latin Americans who can. You can swim up to Miami. And then from there, I got to Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, I started doing music videos before you were all born back in the late 80s.
Oh,
And so I did a video. There was a contest video for MTV with Madonna, for Madonna. It's a Madonna contest. She wasn't in it, but it was a story for one of her videos, True Blue.
Mhm.
So that got my career started. So then I figured I had to move to Los Angeles. But then I got music video opportunities making out of Germany for Europe. So I moved to Germany. And then that was MTV UK, which began in early 90s. So that got me to England.
Mhm.
And then I knew at some point I had to come back to the US. That got me to New York. And
Wow.
eventually bounce off to LA. So that's my...
That's so good.
amazing.
Did you know you're the second guest that we've met in this season who was inspired by doing a Madonna music video and it launched their career? That is so cool. Shout out to Legend Madonna.
At the time, it was like there was nothing. There was no YouTube. There was nothing, right? It was
Right.
1986 or 7. I'm a kid and I'm watching MTV. It's the only way you could get music
Right.
videos. And that I want to do videos. And
Yeah.
then, but I was into like progressive rock, Pink Floyd and Led
Mhm.
Zeppelin and whatnot. And then there's a Madonna shows up. Hi, make my video for my song True Blue. And I'm like, oh man, that's embarrassing. But there's a chance to, I want to do this, right? So I went on, bought the
Yeah.
record, vinyl, listened
Oh
to
my
it,
God.
wrote the idea, had my sister in it because she was younger, so she must have been, I don't know, 15. She was in drama department at the high school,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, great. So I'm just gonna go and get the whole school. So I actually made my best production ever, which is basically enlist the entire school, get the drama department, get me all the actors, which are all the students.
Mm.
Someone had a T-Bird, 1957 T-Bird. It's True Blue, so it's 1950s related music theme. So I just really got to all of that, and it won by the votes from the fans. So it was like to put up the 10 finalists, and people had to call in to a different number for each video, and that register of votes. It sounds ancient, right? It's like I bought a vinyl record, I made a video, I put it on tape, sent the tape via FedEx, and then it was voted by phone calls.
It sounds
Yeah.
nostalgic.
Yeah.
Not
Very
ancient.
ancient.
But
Exactly.
it is crazy how digital, like the digital progressive use of technology these days, it's just buttons now. Like you can just sync it up, and there's a lot of respect for having to do something like that.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of art entirely that people now have to, they want to do anything on film, for instance, right? They have to really learn the tools and the usage, and it's a lot. It is 10 times harder. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to shoot at that point on everything on film.
Mhm.
were
So-
you shooting on film then?
Yeah, basically, well, the Madonna thing I shot on video because I had access to a TV camera from the high school, a university. So a friend worked at it and said, we can use this camera. And then someone else had the editing. And so it looked horrible video. So I put a bunch of filters on it. And then I run it to a TV station from the school's switcher, where I was able to remove the color, add a strobe, and make it look like Super 8. because I
Okay.
didn't want it to look like video, which looked too plasticky and too sharp and too weird. And
Uh-huh.
so I had to kind of invent a film look out of necessity with what the tools I had.
Oh
Now you
my
just click and add a filter. Back then,
Right.
you couldn't.
Yeah. And you say this launched your career, but it sounds like you knew what you were doing. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like before that, how much had you done on your own, trying to get into the industry?
So before your parents were born, I was shooting weddings in Venezuela. So
Mhm.
what happened is, and must be like 1980 or 79, right? So there's like no one shot video of weddings. And my dad went to Japan, brought a camera, like the first video camera for consumer. It was like a box like this with
Mhm.
a hose leading to a heavy deck. That was a Betamax deck, which is like a smaller VHS type deck. And that thing showed up in my house, and I grabbed it and started shooting everything there was, right? And I'm like 15. And then we met somehow a photographer who shot pictures for weddings. And my dad says, my kid can shoot your videos for the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
how did my dad figure that out? And the guy was, no, we can charge for that stuff way more. So there I am now shooting weddings following the photographer. His name was Martel, Italian guy in
Okay.
Venezuela. And I just tag along with two friends holding lamps, blowing up fuses in churches and places, and just shooting. So I've been shooting forever and ever. So it's just that just let it. I was like, but that was a bit boring. So music videos
Mhm.
was a
And
more fun way of doing it.
Yeah.
and when did you step into like a true director role? Because it sounds like you were doing camera op there.
We're
Like,
doing it
where did
all.
you find, yeah, doing it all. When did you feel like you were stepping into a director role?
So I got into the music videos, and the music videos was kind of an extension of that. Now I got to learn how to shoot on film, 16, and that stuff. So I'm a director, DP shooting, and I want to be more storytelling because I'm watching MTV, and I want to be Fincher when I grow up. And I'm watching all the Madonna videos that David Fincher was doing. He was my idol. He still is. He's one of those guys that is continuously innovating and breaking new ground. So I was like, okay, I want to be more storytelling. So in a way, I began to realize that the gimmick wears out.
Mhm.
But I did get into special effects in the 90s, doing music videos out of Germany for Europe, like Snap and those kinds of bands, dance stuff. And it was all very poppy and very flashy with special effects. So it was a long progression where I realized, it's getting boring because after 5 years, it looks old.
Mm.
So I gotta kind of tell stories. So I think it took me a long time to I want to direct actors doing stories. But if you think about it, going back, that first one, the Madonna, was just storytelling. True Blue is basically a story.
Mm.
So I kind of had to go back to one, and then
Yeah.
what matters is story more than how you shoot it, where you shoot it.
Yeah.
So he went to learn the technique, and then he came back to his roots.
Back to what it's all about,
Yeah.
really.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it does make sense. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers who go to school, for instance, right? It's like you're studying so hard to understand how all these lenses and the lighting packages that you need and all this other shit, But like
Yeah.
it always comes back to storytelling, and that's why we hired our DP for our first feature film. It's like he just kept going back to storytelling and how that's the most important thing, and we'll figure out everything else. And I was like, yep, that's who I want to work with. So I think it's a really important lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep reminding yourself what it's really all about. All the way up to this movie, I'm sitting there in miserable conditions in Jackson, Mississippi. It's hot, it's melting. I have a tiny budget. I got to shoot the whole movie.
You have a state of emergency.
A state of
with
emergency.
electric storms
Oh
and
my
crazy things happening.
100-degree temperatures. I got to shoot the whole movie in 3 weeks. So I can't afford this. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. So I went back to one. It's just about what's on the page, what these performers can do, and how can we make it funny. Even though right now I don't feel funny at all because I'm melting
Yeah.
these points.
You shot a Christmas movie when you were sweating in the heat of summer, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I shot an East LA Chicano driven Mexican style holiday Christmas movie in the middle of Jackson, Mississippi in the summer. And that is definitely
That's
kids.
crazy. That's
Definitely
wild.
kids, forget filmmaking, get a proper job. This is not very healthy. We nearly died. We were digging ditches. We might die tomorrow. If I die first, you push me. If you die first, I push you. and she's acting, I'm producing, and it really gets to a point where you're going, really, do we have to struggle so much to make a little comedy?
It was rough because we lost power also for 1 week. So, you know, imagine then you gotta bring all these trucks with, you know,
Generators.
with the
Generators.
generator.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it's bad. But you see, all the actors were super cool. They
really good.
they were
It came down to
they
that.
were playing.
It came
with
down
us.
to that we can't have this, we can't have that. So it's just them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of doing a sitcom, but it kind of more rough and tumble. And in a way, I couldn't say I planned it like that. It kind of became that necessity. It has a bit of the documentary style within it.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, he went back to his roots. Let's tell the story and forget about the disaster.
Yeah. It's the most
Shot
important
into
part.
Blackmagic pocket cameras, so small stuff, small tools, you know, a few LED lamps. Really just shoot, like, how fast can we shoot it? You know, so I can spend more time with the actors.
Yeah.
They like, that's where I think, again, that gets lost on set, the time with the actors. Like, it's, you know, in Tessa and I's careers, it is a little hard to actually get that FaceTime with the director. You know, your low budgets, exactly, you want to rush. So if the director's really just distracted with the lighting again and like trying to figure out the next shots, you know, it's you lose that. So that's actually really special that, and we want to talk about that. I'm sure how like you worked with your actors and you had some incredible talent. And Tessa, you were gonna ask something, because I wanted to also circle really quickly to Romina, because I don't want her to feel like she got off the hook about.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
worry
let's
about
start
She's
there.
on the hook.
No. It doesn't. I just something. You're an actor, producer, and I also want to hear about how you two cuties met. So we're gonna just give me a little sauce, a little you know sauce.
Before your grandparents were born.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah. You guys look amazing. Stop.
Okay. Well, I mean, I come from a family of actors, so but I am also a graphic designer, and I was an art director in an ad agency when I met Angel. I mean, did I meet you there? I think I met your partner at that time in the agency, and then I was also doing auditions. So,
and this is in Los Angeles or Mexico?
No, this is Mexico.
Okay.
So I went to so I was working in the ad agency, and then this guy came and said, "Hey, I want to introduce my company to you and my director." So Angel wasn't there; he was also just the partner. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Next, right?" And then, I went for an audition and a callback for Coors Light, and I met him in the callback.
And what was he doing at the callback?
He was directing.
Directing?
Yeah, he was directing me, right?
You were like, oh, okay, hi.
Not really, though. No.
Did you remember him? Or
Yeah,
were you like, hi?
She was hitting on me.
You're like,
She was hitting on me.
Not at all. I was going out with someone else at that time. Yes. So I met him there. And then anyway, so long story short, I shot this commercial Coors Light. I don't know if I can say that. Well, I shot this commercial. You can clip it.
Sure.
I shot this commercial, and then Angel was there. It was 2 days. And the next day I was just, okay, well, nice to meet you all. I am leaving. Bye. And Angel is like, wait, where are you going? I'm like, okay, well.
Of course. Right?
Right. I get
So
it.
that's
man
how
who
we
knows what he wants. We love it. Good job.
met. Yeah, that's how we met. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like this I should just ask, is this the first project you two have worked together on? I have a feeling it's not.
Well, no, I mean, I was just doing my own things because I am a graphic designer, actress.
Her own woman. She's got a whole slate of things. She's busy.
Yeah, I was just doing my own things. And then, once in a while when we shot something together, I tagged along, or I don't know, help me with the cameras, and things like that. I was just helping him, basically,
Yeah.
his project.
Mhm.
But then I feel like in this particular movie, well, also he has directed me in projects where I don't work as a crew member. Because
Mhm.
when I work with him, I work as a crew member, but sometimes I've worked only as an actress, and he has directed me just, as an actress director, the cliche. And then, in this project, I feel like I became a producer, like a co-producer,
Mhm.
because I started this project with being an associate producer, just helping them with the decks, with the graphics, with the presentations, with whatever they needed, right?
Mhm.
And then on set, I was helping the art director and the wardrobe and this and that. I was just helping at the beginning before started shooting.
Yeah.
And then, because we had so many challenges, I had to step in and really get my hands dirty as a co-producer, really, like doing a lot of things. And then when we finished, I one I don't know if I should say this. Well, we had a problem with one person that had to stay there with us working, and he just left. So
Oh.
basically, I had to do all his work.
Oh boy.
And
That's tough.
so that's how I became a co-producer. But the cool thing about it is that I was working with the women at Patriot Pictures, which they are amazing, and they taught me a lot of things in an intense 3 months. And then I was working with the lawyers at Lionsgate, Grindstone. So it was just like, wow. I mean, all these people, basically, they are willing to help you because you have to deliver a movie, and you
Right.
learn a lot. And it's very intense, it's very difficult, but at the same time, it's rewarding when you do something right.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Right.
Hmm.
Well,
She
you guys
became a
obviously did
producer.
something right.
Yeah.
She became a producer far beyond what she had expected,
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
or even I expected. Because one thing is to talk about it, and the other thing is when you're in it,
Yeah.
and then you have to put out real fires. I'm talking like big fires, forest fires. So and this happens all the time in movies. But in this time, given the restraint, we had a week and a half of pre-production.
Wow.
And we had to shoot the whole
Whoa.
movie in 14 days.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Whoa.
one of the key producers became a negative force, not to get into the details. So she had to step in and fill in those shoes. And that was all the way until deliverables. And you
Mhm.
probably know that delivering a movie goes far beyond video and picture and audio. It has to do with about 150 contracts. And if all of them are not fulfilled properly, and half of them had to be redone because they were all done incorrectly. So she, with the lawyers and the producers, had to put that together. And we're still doing that as we speak.
Yeah.
Well, we're
So-
not
so-
doing contracts anymore. We're just doing something else. We're
paperwork,
working on
final
paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tax rebate paperwork and all
Exactly.
that stuff. So producer is half of it is the creative aspect of it, which is what she was doing. And the other
Right.
half of it is all the highly technical bureaucratic stuff that you have to do
Yeah.
because you gotta return the money to the investors plus the rebate is part of the deal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So she really became a proper producer, and the studio named her officially signed a contract. You're a co-producer in this thing. You're saving her ball.
Yeah.
Romina, congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
That
was
is huge. You survived. You did
Yeah.
it.
I did. Yeah, I think the main thing is like I don't know. For me, it's like I don't think about it. I just need to go and do it. It's
Mhm.
like I am over there. I need to go there. My eye is there. I
Yeah.
think
Right.
that if you stay here and wallow about it and you feel your misery, you can't move forward. You need
Right.
to put your eyes in front of you.
And
I
it's even more
agree.
fragile on set. Like you can't let that get in the way. You just need to problem solve on the fly. It's, both been there too, and like there's no time for that. There's no time for wallowing. Like
no. And then you have a lot of people also on set that they have opinions, they behave erratically, they are rude, etc. But also you have a lot of people that are super nice, they know how to do their jobs, so it's like you don't have time to fire anyone. You just have to work with the people that you have, unless it's a life or death situation that you need to do something drastically about it. But you just need to keep going and solve everything you need to do.
And on top of that, she's acting.
So well, that's the other one.
So now we're putting all these fights and all. Okay, you're in this scene. Drop that stuff. Clean up. Now we're gonna be funny.
I mean, that sounds like our feature that we worked on this year. Carolina and I, we both starred in it. We both produced it. Carolina directed it as well. And, when I tell people about it, people that are familiar with like our production company and the level that we're at, they get it. Like they knew we were doing it all, which sounds like what you guys were doing as well. But some people, it's like to them, they just hear like, oh, we were a producer on this project and you started in it. It's like, no, like we literally did everything. And, that's what goes into independent filmmaking, low budget filmmaking. And then, you guys had the pressure also of already being connected with Lionsgate. And it's like, you can't like make this happen whenever you want at your own convenience. Like you have to deliver, quality project.
There's a deadline and a schedule. If you don't meet it, they don't take it.
It's really crazy though.
What I mean? There's a minimum guarantee with the deadline, and the deadline was about half the time you would need normally if everything went well. So we've made this movie in 5 months from beginning to end to deliver it, to make it for December 1st. And that's exactly half the time you would have needed to do something like this for a studio where you have so much paperwork and so many deliverable items, right? The different versions, different configurations, different subtitles, different framings, different all kinds of things. So,
I work at that. I work in post-production, localization, and mastering. So I get the deliverable side, and that is an insane timeline.
It never ends. Oh, now you're missing this. We can see this reflection, this the spelling on this, and oh boy, here we go. Got it back, unlock, redo, re-export all night. I mean,
the QC is brutal, my friends.
Wow,
we're like 4 QCs.
What movie did you make? What is the name of your movie?
Our film is called Sync, SYNC, and we're in post-production for it right now. So.
Oh, okay. And is a feature?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Nice.
You survived. You're still there.
Yeah.
We did. We did it in 11 days, which we thought was crazy. So it's like kind of cool to hear what you guys created and did, because it's very what's the word? Like
crazy.
Say like very just not advantageous. I always want to say ambitious. So ambitious and so hard to do. But we had a few months of pre-production. We pre-productioned the shit out of our film, because we know like when you have a certain number of days, you gotta like be super productive and just very clear with like everything that's happening. And of course stuff still happens, as we all know. We can't always predict always. But we definitely felt like we had that chunk of time for pre-production, which reminds me, the question I had was also like, how did you guys come across the story? And if you want to share a little bit of the story with our audience, and like why you got attached to it.
It's a long story, though.
When I'll try not to make it boring, but when I did From Prada to Nada about 10 years ago, the executive from the studio who I knew from Ridley Scott's company, Lisa Elsie. So I used to be in that company doing TV commercials, and I wanted to make movies, so I befriended her. Nothing happened, but then when 3 years later, she calls me from Lionsgate, and I go, Angel, Elsie here. How are you? I have to talk fast. Good news, bad news. I got a movie for you. Bad news. You only have a week to prep it. It's all been prepped, but we need to kind of replace the director. And so here I am now.
That's quite a call.
Fire up the espresso machine, reading the script, that was a Saturday, take a meeting on Monday. I have to fly Tuesday to start shooting the following Monday, a movie I don't know anything about.
My
So
God.
perhaps
This
I
is the
should call my
Prada
company
from Prada to
last,
Nada, right?
from Prada to Nella, yeah. So I should call
Okay.
my company Last Minute Productions. If you
Yeah.
give me prep time, I won't know what to do with it.
It's a
Yeah,
good
pero
name. People will go for that.
Huh? Yeah, right.
People will go for that in this industry. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm still in prep for that movie and this one. I feel like.
Wait, and then you were gonna say that you got the other script.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
so
tell
then
me.
I went off of
Sorry, the ADHD.
Dime, tell me. It's okay. We'll go back. We're good at circling back.
Get me on my leash. So then the executive, Lisa, who gave me that film, goes, Angel, you gotta read this thing. It's hilarious, right? So she hands me the script. And back in the days, we used to use paper, print it. 10 years ago, it feels like, oh my God. And so laugh out loud stuff. So I meet Ezequiel Martinez, the writer,
Mhm.
and we befriended each other, and we had the movie greenlit shortly after that, 10 years ago. But then we couldn't get the actor that the studio wanted negotiated in time, and we missed the window, and the thing got canceled after a month of pre-production. So here I go. I was finally going to have prep time, and then
Yeah.
and then a few other misses, then back to advertising, and then we tried a couple more times. But I always thought this is a funny story to tell, and I want to tell funny broad comedies with a social commentary with Latinos in it.
Mhm.
So if it comes around, but who can play in it? Pretty much only George Lopez, right?
Yeah.
It's like that movie Being Your Malkovich. You need to have Malkovich, otherwise you don't have that movie. So this could have been called, how the Gringo store George Lopez is Christmas, and if it's not George Lopez in it, you can't make.
Yeah.
It's very limiting that way. But once he said yes, it was all great. So now we can maybe make it.
But I gotta say that story 10 years ago with the other actor that we had.
I mentioned.
Yeah, we're not gonna mention the
Yeah.
name, but with the other actor that they had attached, it worked. But I feel this movie is perfect for
Mhm.
George Lopez.
Yeah.
It's just it fits in. It seems that Ezequiel was thinking about George Lopez when he wrote the movie.
Yeah.
But in reality, all the characters are inspired in his life, his true friends and family, all the characters. So yeah, it's a cool movie. Yeah.
He's born and raised in East LA, and this is really the way his friends and family talk, and so
Mhm.
so it's grounded on reality, and then it's very funny. I think Ezequiel is like a Chicano Tarantino. And then we just made it more so by allowing all the actors to bring their own way of doing it and their own improvisation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know you talk about improvisation, but they were, yeah, it was just we were following the story, the line story, all the lines and everything, and then a little banter in Spanish, which it wasn't really written in Spanish, but because Mariana is Mexican and I am Mexican, I feel like we can say things that among us that nobody else can say. I feel I don't know. It was a cool chemistry with the characters.
But we had a lot of improv coming from
George,
you, from George, from the guys playing the Vatos. So the guys playing the Vatos are content creators, influencers, the three of them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
If you search them, they got gazillions of followers, and they're helping promote the film now because they're actually marketeers. They're genius marketeers, and so I was casting actors and I was looking at them, and I just thought, risky, such little time. You want like train actors who know how to memorize the lines, repeat, hit the marks, and move on. And so I was a little afraid of someone who's used to doing selfie content type of thing. That they have that discipline. So I had Zooms and callbacks, and I sort of said, if you really memorize your lines, if you really do that, then we can play. But if you don't memorize your lines, every time you miss, I'm going to cut a finger off, right? So they didn't want to lose their fingers because they need them, right?
I'm going to have to use that. I'm going to have to use that in my next film. That's right.
So they really learned the stuff. And then, and they thought I was going to be really, really strict. And once we got there, it was like, no, I want to hear what you have to say. And then, boom. And then they really went. funny, crazy. Her character, clearly, is all over the place. She's like the Mexican Phoebe. And
Did you watch the movie? Did you watch it? No.
No, we haven't gotten a screener yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I thought you had the screener, so I don't want to
No, we'd
reveal
love
too
to
much of
watch it
anything
though.
else for the
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you'll see what I'm talking about. When you see, you can. Oh, yes. Mariana,
Okay.
well, Mariana is just she can keep going, right? If you don't switch her off, you can leave set,
That
and
is true.
she'll still going on until the next day.
Hey, Angelito, pero mira, Angelito, es que, just tell me this, Angelito. Yeah. She talks like that. It's really funny, though. I like
Love
her
it.
a lot.
Well,
Oh,
for our listeners too, because we got to read at least a little bit what the movie is about. If you can share for our listeners, just kind of a brief, storyline and kind of theme, that sort of thing.
So George Lopez plays Benny, who is a traditional Mexican American Chicano who wants to celebrate Christmas with the family, Mexican style, con los abuelos, las abuelitas, and all the drunks and the neighbors and the crazies and all that other stuff, and his little girl, or his little girl is like 8 years old in his mind, or 10 max, Emily Tosta. So she shows up, a woman, with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend happens to be a white American boy. So you see that in the trailer, and you can imagine that might be a problem. And so it's really about coming together and overcoming your mental obstacles, about culture, about tradition, and about your own family growing up, and you growing up. So it does have a nice social commentary behind a really funny comedy where it's sort of envelope.
Yeah. I love that because, in this day and age, I feel like we get so many just very standard, like Lifetime Hallmark Christmas movies. And that's not to say they're bad. They're fun, but it's really fun for me personally when we get like a really good, like Christmas comedy that, it's like, it still makes you feel good. Of course, it's Christmas. Like you want to feel good about it, but it actually makes you laugh and like you really enjoy it for the whole comedy that it is.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
embraces the culture side of things, and has I love that it's written by like a Chicano who like really can speak to that, because I'm sorry, you can really sell when a production company wants to make a more diverse, inclusive film and it's not written by those people, and so then it just doesn't land. And then you have like talent like your wife, like being able to really bring in that energy. It's so just I'm so excited to watch it. I think it's gonna really like do it justice for what you guys wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I think you see, in a way, it's like I was there, all the difficulties and all we can complain all day about how difficult it is to make a film.
Yeah.
But when it got down to it, because of that, it just came down to script, characters, right? And then it was like the moment I was there with them, and it was action, and I'm laughing. When I really feel like I was right before the same action, I wanted to cry, right? Because everything was so difficult to get there.
Right.
So you go, because that's what it's about, And so can we just take it further, And then all of them would just come out and say something crazy, and then go. Sometimes I just pan the camera and say, George, can you say that again, but on camera? What do you call him? And it's like, and so we could tell that they appreciated it, and I appreciated it. And it was like a way to survive it. So in a way, it kind of directed itself also. I take some credit, but the whole group kind of moved with it, and I guided it. And I think it became better because of that, even though it had a lot of limitations.
It feels very, I feel like the characters have a lot of chemistry. All of us, it looks like a family. Everybody. Jack has a lot of chemistry with Emily. Emily has a lot of chemistry with George, Mariana. It's like everybody has chemistry together. The Vatos with us. And it's full of Latinos, right? Which is great because, the only Gringo is Jack. The real American guy, which is cool. And I feel like he also felt in family. Like he was, he was comfortable working with us, which is really nice. And
how did you guys find that chemistry, especially when you had limited time? Like, how did that develop?
I think that is, I think that is something that it's just everybody is. I feel is the personality of each one is just so likable and nice, and they don't have big egos or anything. Not Mariana, George, Emily, Jack. They are all super down to earth. The influencers also, they were super down to earth. Everybody was
we got lucky, really, because
we got lucky.
In a way, and in advertising, I've had to work with some celebrities that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, really? You're getting paid that much? And you're complaining about what?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of say, well, you never know until you get there. And then the extreme circumstances sometimes gets the worst out of people. In this case, everybody just huddle in and let's do this. And so it really is a bit of luck too, that those all coincided and worked so well together.
Yeah, it worked really well. Yeah. And I didn't know, because my my character, to be honest, is very similar to my personality. So it's like, I didn't know, sometimes I said something out of place and I didn't know if George was gonna feel uncomfortable, but he's like, hey, Romy, can you say that again, please? Aren't you gonna record? Aren't you gonna laugh? And I'm like, are you okay with that? Yeah, laugh. It's like, she laughs in the awkward situations, and it's just,
her laughter is very contagious. It's just part of it.
It's like, I am like that.
And they kept the camera, the iPhone, and it's like, okay, I need another angle on this. You keep shooting. So I actually used my A cam, B cam, and C cam.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is built into the thing. So the film is less designy, it's a little more spontaneous. The way
okay.
And did that follow into the edit? Like, you just kind of left that kind of movement of where the shots kind of go into different directions?
Yeah, we let it flow a little bit. And in a way also, because since I cannot rehearse as much as I would want to, I can only rehearse the action of the characters. I cannot really rehearse too much camera with actors. So that choreography, I had to take a step back and organize it in a way where I was able to capture it and follow it, and then let the camera point of view be a little more erratic, trying to find it. It's not a handheld crazy one, but it's kind of like, it's almost like the cameraman wants to frame properly, but then something goes off and, oh, it's over there. And so it has a bit of that, like the cameraman wasn't cued into the thing. And I often was the cameraman, so I was kind of like, sometimes it's like, okay, let's do this, and I'm, moving the camera on the slider and panning, and then I'm looking at camera B here. It's like, make sure you're tighter. Okay, good. I'm gonna slide this around. Do it one more time, and it's, in a way, it became a thing by spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
Sounds like you just can't get your hands not on the camera, Angel. You need to work it in there. That's part of your directing. Yeah.
Once the cameraman, but I don't recommend it. I actually didn't want to do that. I much rather, in narrative, I much rather set it up, and I usually sit on an Apple box between the lenses and the actors, very close, to look at performance once this is set up. But given the circumstances I was in, I had to grab one of the cameras if I wanted to have it, and plus I couldn't design everything and rehearse it too much. So out of necessity, in a way, I was making it up as I was doing it, and I was running out of time. I just couldn't explain that to someone unless that cameraman was someone who worked with me a lot and did. And that was not the case. So, so that made me do that, but I wouldn't want to do it. I didn't do it in Prada. I just sat between the cameras and focused on the actors.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it works because so much of it was like kind of on the fly, that the way that the camera movement and everything was kind of tells its own story. It makes the camera almost a character, and kind of to inflect a mood of like, maybe you're panning and then all of a sudden like, what was that? And that's what happened in real life. You're really going, wait, what was that? And the camera catches that too. So, I mean, that's like, it's kind of a happy accident, that it ended up adding to it. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I had to embrace it. It was like, okay, can do this, can't do that, can afford this, okay, fine, then this.
Yeah.
Either that or I jump in the ditch, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
But she wouldn't let me jump in the ditch.
What's that?
She wouldn't let me jump on the ditch. She kept me above.
That's what a good producer is for.
He signed a contract.
I got to deliver this thing. She reminded me.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
that's really cool that you have this now, I feel like, good standing relationship with Lionsgate, because that's huge. And do you feel like that's a relationship you further want to do more and produce more with them and hopefully get more time?
Working
Lionsgate?
on it. Working on it as we speak. My wish that maybe the third one I can have pre-production.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just so crazy because, like, I'm sure our
earned it.
listeners will be like, whoa, like, is this what it's like when you get up to the top? It's like,
Now
and
in
it can
commercials,
be.
I have more prep time, so I do know what it feels like to having 3 weeks of prep for a 30-second commercial. So I know what to do with it. Plan stuff, scout better, get better wardrobe.
Yeah.
You have more choices.
I feel like it's also about finding the right people to work with, because
Absolutely.
Angel already worked with Lionsgate with Prada, right?
Right.
But it was another company inside of Lionsgate. Now I feel like we got the company that we want to keep working with inside Lionsgate, Grindstone. They get us. Like,
Yeah.
these
That's awesome.
guys understand what Latinos are. And I
amazing.
really like that, because it's like, I want to see the movie. They saw the movie without the subtitles. Then we put on the subtitles and it's like, oh my God, yes, I love it. And they were just pushing for the, because it's a lot of banter in Spanish. It's mainly English, but it's a lot of banter in Spanish, slang, Mexican slang. So it's very funny. It's very funny in English and it's very funny in Spanish. I feel like the writer did an amazing job, and the editors did an amazing job. Angel did an amazing job, and the whole thing comes together really nice. And and then Lionsgate, they saw this and they like it. They want more of this.
Well,
Which is
because a
great.
lot of the times a studio could also say, hey, cut back. Like, I don't understand what this is.
Exactly.
And like, edit the crap out of it. So the fact that
Exactly.
they loved it. Yeah, I can imagine feeling, after what you guys been put through too, that feeling of acceptance and recognition and support is just invaluable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're moving on, meeting about the next one. So
Oh.
it's already, it's a work in progress thing, and obviously fixing all the pitfalls and mistakes, and it comes from a great writer friend of mine, a British guy. His name is Piers Ashworth. Wrote a brilliant comedy. I've been trying to make it also for about 10 years, and it wasn't meant to have Latinos in it, but there's 4 lead characters. I immediately turning 2 of them into Latinos, and I'm bringing most of the cast from Gringo onto that film, because now that it worked out also a way to make that work. So you're still doing a broad international film, but it's going to have the fun stuff that comes from that culture and the nuances and all that. And so basically they'll come on board most likely, and a few new actors. So I look forward to taking it to the next level,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like how many directors they actually use the same cast? Like
many do.
yeah, Mike Flanagan. Yeah, Mike Flanagan uses the same cast, or all the time, or
Lucas Scorsese keeps shooting with Robert De Niro.
yes, it's like they use the same cast all the time. I feel like, yeah, you need just to find your people, and you can
That's
move
great advice for our listeners. Like, you find your people, you find the people, you get through something difficult and still make something amazing. And that's like what we are about too. I'm like, if you don't think I'm going to want to hire the same people we worked on with our feature, you're crazy. We had an incredible team, and like, I just want to get us a bigger budget so I can honestly just pay them more, because they're amazing. Like, I don't need the fancy things. Like, just want to keep doing it with these talented humans who helped us make something great. So respect to that.
Yeah, they help you get to this level, right? So then when you grow, you call them so they also grow with you.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like you have to be grateful also with the people that are helping you throughout the process.
Yes,
absolutely. They want to stuck it out.
And be nice to you. That's the thing. Like, those people that weren't nice to me, sorry. Bye.
Oh my God, it's all about the people. It's all about the people. I know. Yeah, it's all about the people. Yes. And your attitude. And yeah, you have to have good attitude. First of all, I don't care if you are the guy that is, moving the cars or if you are the big star, you have to have
Always.
good attitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes such a difference when you do versus when you don't. And when you don't, you're not going to get hired again, honey. It's just not like you have to, like you said, sometimes you just have to stick it through. Like you have no choice. You're in Mississippi. It's summer. Like you got to make this film. But I mean, it's just so crazy how poisonous that it's like I've seen people just fire people on set because it's like you can't move forward when someone's like, being a certain kind of way. So I'm glad that you guys stuck it through and that you plan on hiring these people and bringing again more Latinos to the forefront. Like that's what I feel like is a good ethos to have. What's that? Hello, I'm here to hire. I'm an actress. I'm also a producer. We can help. Paperwork. We're ready.
Where did you guys shoot your movie?
In Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's nice.
I wish we've had to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, we were like, listen, we tell the story a lot, and I'm sorry, listeners, but we shot our first project, which was a Western, and we thought since we were in California, this is years ago now, like we just had moved here, we just decided to become filmmakers, and I say that as to sum it up, but we thought, we're in the Wild West. Let's just shoot a Western. That's easy. And
it was not.
You talk about fires, floods, horses, stuntman, guns, and we're directing and acting on the horses and but we also
for trouble.
Yeah, we were asking for trouble. So we learned that maybe for our first feature film, not to do that.
A romantic comedy, maybe. One set.
That's why, keep it minimal locations, like, easy commute. No one's on a horse. So we were able to really execute this film. It's always crazy, but less craziness. And we
like my one of my teachers, Leslie Kahn, she always says, dare to suck. If you don't suck, you don't learn. So
you got to just try it. And that's why we are so proud of that project. We really are. I mean, it's now just like a 2.5 minute proof of concept that we do hope and dream for one day to make it a true Western film. But man, it taught us to be brave and to be bold.
And to just jump in. Yeah.
Just dive in. But producer actors, you know where to call us. Well, tell our listeners, when is this movie coming out? Where to go see it?
So it's December 1st, and it's
come on, Angel, you can do better than that. Let's roll it back. Take 2 and action.
You can see How the Gringo Stole Christmas. Super cool movie with George Lopez and a great cast like this wonderful woman.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in theaters and streaming December 1st. Just Google it.
This woman is Romy Peniche, by the way.
Yes, plug it.
They are listening.
Oh yeah, listening. It's a podcast. The woman is my wonderful wife, producer, actress, genius, and everything in between.
Amazing. And also for our listeners, if you guys want to share, if you have any social media, websites, all that jazz, so they can follow after this movie's out whenever you're making the next thing.
Yeah. So hashtag How the Gringo Stole Christmas will take you to the handle. We're beginning to post a lot now this weekend, 2 weeks to launch. And through us and through the content creators, social media guys, we're having a lot of stuff coming out that is going to show bits and pieces and a lot of fun behind the scenes.
We have How the Gringo Stole Christmas, hashtag. We have Instagram, How the Gringo Stole Christmas. We have, his handle is Angel Gracia. For Instagram, mine is Romy Peniche. And then, we have Legend, Mexican Ways. We have Can I Love Cisco, Tony Directs.
Those are the handle names.
Those are the influencers.
For influencers.
Okay.
Creators.
We're going to...
But if you go to How the Gringo Stole Christmas, you'll see them and it leads you because they're all recorded stuff and they're putting out. And
Oh,
we
that's
have a ton of behind the scenes that we're going to start releasing. We just went to like a hard
amazing.
drive, a terabyte of stuff. So it's a fun, the
Okay,
behind the scenes is
great. We'll
really
have
fun.
to search and share as well, like
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited
especially
to
for
see
the
it.
podcast. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, this is
Well,
fun. It's fun. Once we see it like that, sitting, with air conditioner and everything, is like, oh, this is fun.
It was worth it after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm beginning to enjoy the process of shooting it now. Post-mortem.
Yeah.
Oh, I look happy. I was having fun, and the actors are funny, and you don't feel the heat. It's not so cold.
Yeah, that's
Right.
I totally understand, and it's relatable as we are
Yes.
in post now. I can be like, oh, okay, this is now getting fun. Cool.
We're gonna watch your movie too. We're gonna
Yay!
check it out because we wanna watch it, and yeah.
Well,
Help
let's
each
stay
other
in
out.
touch. We'll have you guys back on for your next movie, or happy. This was such a lovely conversation. You guys are the best. Like, honestly, so easy to talk to, and thank you for being just so real. And yeah, we'll definitely have to invite you guys back on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
chicas.
Carolina, Tessa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas
Absolutely.
gracias.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz
Happy Merry Christmas.
Navidad.
Feliz
Feliz Navidad. Okay.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Femme Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.